Mike, I know that it was your fight that night that Tupac got shot at and lost.
And Puff told him he will give.
Mike, it appears that former heavyweight champion Mike Tyson is closely following how the investigation into the fatal shooting of his friend Tupac develops, and the former boxer was shocked to discover some agonizing detail. I know that, it was your fight that night that Tupac got shot at and lost, and Post told him he will give him $1 million. You guys never got any money for anything else. Mike Tyson came forward and accused the music mogul of lying to him all these years, saying that they needed to keep an eye on them since they had gone a little too far with their ideas. Hello everyone and welcome back to Celeb Live. As you are aware, the investigation into Tupac's unsolved case is moving forward quickly following the most recent raid on the home of a former gang member, Keith, which turned up a number of incriminating items that may provide the solution to the long-standing mystery of who's to blame for the crime, as many other celebrities have been. Mike Tyson was quite pleased to see the reopened inquiry, but he never anticipated that one of his friends would be connected to the crime. Mike has known Diddy for a long time, and the shocking details of the music mogul allegedly placing a bounty on Tupac's head were beyond the comprehension of the Xbox because of our long friendship. Before it was Diddy, I had them when I first became the champ, and now Mike is openly confronting Diddy for being a vicious criminal and concealing his involvement in this heinous incident that claimed the lives of the rap legends. Mike admitted in numerous interviews that he personally invited Tupac to Vegas that night in 1996 to watch his fight with Bruce Seldon, and although the late rapper initially declined, the former heavyweight champion persuaded him to go. However, I was supposed to join those again, and I really thought he was going to hang out with him that night. However, Mike feels partially responsible for the fatal shooting that occurred that night in Vegas. Mike has been living with a huge stone on his heart, believing that his was partially to blame to his friend's static demise, as the former boxer revealed in his interview. I feel a little guilty about him coming to the fight and me pressuring him. I was supposed to go out with him that night, I promised to go to the 662 with him that night. But I just had a little baby and her mother was provoking me to stay home, so I stayed home now. Mike is beyond angry at Diddy because he had been hiding the truth from him for decades and made him believe in his innocence, and we all remember how the music mogul reacted to the news about his involvement in Tupac's shooting. You know, we don't talk about things that are nonsense, we don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So despite the multiple documentaries and investigations, plus so many people pointing at Diddy, the infamous producer seemed to have distanced himself from all talk about his role in that crime. However, with more evidence coming to play and Q opened his mouth and sharing how did he promised him a hefty sum for Tupac's head, Mike learns more about his so-called friends seeing Diddy comms and how he had been lying to everyone all these years now. Mike's illusions about Diddy's good nature are broken into pieces, and the former boxer tries to fit new information about his friend's criminal activities into this picture. Have great things at my after parties and stuff also, when they were throwing parties, as Tyson said he had never expected Diddy to lie about this one thing, because Mike has repeatedly expressed his grief thinking of how he could have stopped his unfortunate event from coming as Iron. Mike expressed his emotions, saying, "Someone called me that night and told me what happened, and I come to me senses. This is what happens in my world that was part of my world, but just because it was Tupac and I was attached to it, it was different as many other people." Mike didn't know Diddy was associated with a gang, or perhaps he wanted to think that his friend Sean Combs was an honest man. Is there anything you have opinions on? Have you had any experiences with Diddy? Know him just a noon for a long time. Now Mike feels like he had been betrayed, and it's obvious that he wants the famous producer to pay for this crime, especially considering the fact that the actual assassin, the guy named Orlando Anderson, fell the victim to another shooting 2 years after the Vegas drive-by. However, the police have now confirmed that Orlando had no motive to eliminate Tupac and was simply executing the order made by Diddy. Luckily for Mike, he can now live in peace and stop feeling guilty about Tupac's demise, because all newly found evidence that had discovered in Kefiti's house is proving the fact that Diddy was a part of this crime. And as the police hints, it's only a matter of time before the music mogul is arrested. So yeah, we built this federal case against him. with serious consequences if he were to go to trial and be convicted. Many fans are happy to see the investigation moving on, and this time even more witnesses are coming forward to accuse Diddy of paying for 2Pac's head. As one person commented, yes, it's about time he goes down. He's been under the radar for quite some time. That guy is a criminal, and he's dangerous, and he needs to be locked under the jail. And another user added, well, if Puffy leaves the country, we know there's involvement. The police have long tried to link Diddy to this case, but before Cuff started to work with the investigation and share previously unknown details, the whole process was put on pause. However, as one retired police officer said, he's been collecting evidence on this crime since 2016, and it took his 3 years to find out that Combs hired Crips gang member Dwayne Davis, better known as KFD, to eliminate 2Pac and his manager for $1 million, and they are now building up a case against him. M2 finally bring Puffy for questioning, wanted to go and investigate him and basically develop the same type of scenario against him that we were going to do with Keefe, get him into a situation where he'd be compelled to talk. However, as the police now thinks Diddy was again bribe everyone, silence the key witnesses with his money, or threaten them, and they believe that the public exposure is the best weapon against the notorious mogul and his tricks. And Mike's recent confrontation with Diddy couldn't be a better way to make the infamous hip-hop producer feel guilty and confess the repercussions that come with being the dog, the beast animal, the universe test. Now the police says that the main informant on this case, Kefidi, is trapped, and he has no choice but to share more details of his agreement with Diddy and how the music mogul offered him $1 million to get rid of 2Pac. KPD is happy to assist since he's long tired to cover for Puffy while Keefe has been speaking. How did he deceived him and left with nothing for a long time, and he also mentioned that he never got the money for the job. Say that, he was on top of the world until you met Puffy. What you mean by that? Life ain't been the same, bro. After he was cornered by the police, Kefidi agreed to talk on camera, and he even participated in making a documentary about 2Pac's case. The documentary features a 2008 interview with Kefidi, where he claims to have heard, did he declare in a room full of Crips members that he, if anything for POC and Huge Knight's heads. He went on to say in the police interview that the music mogul had later approached him and offered him $1 million to get rid of the pair of his enemies forever. Earlier, he said that Puffy put out this claim of, I'll pay $1 million if you get rid of right 2Pac and Suge. As the police officer said, they had cracked the case a long ago, and it was only a matter of time until they connect all the dots and squeeze the confession but of right people within law enforcement. We know what took place, and we've corroborated claims from the various players who are involved. Now, when the whole story is out, the police hopes that more people will want to snitch on Diddy, and Mike Tyson was the first person to openly slam the music producer for his illegal activities against Mike's dear friend 2Pac. It appears that Diddy will finally come out of his cave in order to answer to his friend Mike Tyson in his confrontation. Many internet users have already gathered their popcorn and are anticipating another twist in this crazy saga, as one